Hi, welcome to learn about thirds. So, here we have 1/3. And as you can remember, the denominator, which is the bottom number of the fraction, tells you that a third means we need 3 equal groups or parts. And the numerator, here, the 1, tells us that we always take or shade in one part of the fraction. One part of the shape. So, for instance, here we've got a circle. If you imagine a lovely, gorgeous chocolate cake, and we want a third of that to share with our friends. Well, the denominator here tells us that we need to split this cake into 3 equal pieces. Now, with a circle, this is quite difficult, so I'm going to show you how to do this. Okay, with a cake, we're going to split it into 3 equal pieces, a bit like that. Okay, now as you can see, they're not exactly equal. With a circle, it is a bit trickier to do, but you do your best to get it almost equal. Okay, so we've got one, 2, 3 equal groups. And then what we need to do is the numerator tells us we need to give one of those groups to our friend, or we shade in one part. So let's just shade in this part here. Okay, and that is 1/3 of a circle. Now, with a square, it's a little bit easier. So I'll tell you what, when I say pause, okay, stop the video, have a go with a partner on a whiteboard. Don't worry if it's not a perfect square. And I want to see if you can split that square into a third. Once you and your partner think you've done it, play this video again and see whether or not the way you've done it is the same as the way I've done it. Okay? Ready, steady, pause. Okay, I'm assuming you've come back and you've had a go doing a third with a partner. Let's see if we can turn this square into a third. So, if you've done something that looks a little bit like this, okay, and you've got, let's say, a line there and another line there, straight away, okay, we can say we've got 1, 2, 3 groups, but they're not equal. You can clearly see that they're not the same size. This part here is a smaller size compared to this part, and this part here is huge, okay, which is not equal. So we have to make sure they are all equal size. So when we mean equal size, it should look a bit more like this. All right, we can either have it going down like this. Let's just see. Okay, roughly, it's going to go about there. Another one about there. So as you can see, it's a bit more equal than it was before. And again, we only give one part of this away to someone else, or we take one part, so we shade in one part of that. So we've got 3 equal groups. The numerator said we take 1, so we've shaded in one part, and that is a third. Now, sometimes you might be asked to find a third of a number of objects. So here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 chocolate chips. Oh, chocolate chips. And we want to find a third of those 6 chocolate chips. So how do you do that? Well, if you remember, the 3 is the denominator, and that denominator tells us how many groups we need. So let's draw 3 balls. So we've got 1, 2, 3 balls. All right, and now we need to make sure we put an equal amount of chocolate chips into each ball. So you do something a little bit like this. So we'll count out now. Okay, so you can count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there we've got 6 chocolate chips. Now, remember, I want a third of those chocolate chips. So the the numerator at the very top says we need to look at one of those balls. So let's have a look at this ball here. And in that ball, we've got 1, 2 chocolate chips. Okay, so a third of 6 is 2. Now to check that, you can also see that in each ball, we've got 2 chocolate chips, which means each ball is equal, which means this is the right answer. Okay, So what are we expecting you to do in our bakery? Well, on your table, you've got some slices of bread. Now, this bread is for making some bread and butter pudding, which is scrumdiddlyumptious. And you need to take a slice of bread, and with a knife, I want you to show us a third of that slice of bread. And you can see the slice of bread is actually more or less a square shape. So I'd like you to show us a third of that square. Now, when you've done that, and you think you've got a third, and you've checked it with a partner, I'd then like you to have a go and take 3 of those balls on your table, and I'd like you to count out some of those blackberries, and I'd like you to show me a third of those blackberries. Now remember, each ball needs to have an equal amount. Good luck, and I look forward to making some bread and butter pudding with you all later.